All right, here we are. We're back, moving into the later rounds of the modern 5K. We've got 2 rounds of Swiss left, followed by the elimination rounds, and we're subbing in the A team. Becky Bell's here, getting her in here. That's not a slight against Honorog and Devin. It's just, I mean, everyone can see the obvious, right? Becky Bell, welcome back.
Thanks so much, and thanks for having, Anurag and Devin on as well. They're great people. They have a lot of really good insight, and I'm here to have some jokes along with some insight.
All right. Well, you're well dressed. Look at that Nerd Rage sweatshirt there. Awesome.
We match.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Okay, so we're getting ready for round number 7. We're going to watch some players who did very well yesterday and actually played into this morning. Maxx Kominowski, who was on the winning team and thus will be seen at the Nerd Rage Championship in December or whenever it happens, versus Jesse Robkin, who came up just one match short playing Pioneer. Their team made it to the final. So these two players faced each other this morning, now facing off in Modern. So if we are at the table, we can get that ready to go. Here we see Izzet Murktide versus Izzet Breach. So Jesse Robkin wrote an article a few months ago about the Izzet Breach deck in Modern, the aggressive elements of it backed up by the Underworld Breach combo win, which adds an element, threatening element to the deck. And we actually saw it yesterday play out more or less according to plan.
Yeah, we at least got to see it go off once and then kind of have a little bit of a backup plan as well. So it's cool to see that decks like this get to have a certain level of potency. And we were kind of talking about it yesterday as well, that it's almost more fun to watch all of these combo decks go for their plan B rather than their plan A. And it's nicer to see because there's like this element of, if you're going to play a deck like this, you have to know how to navigate the times where things don't always come together for you.
Mm-hmm. Now you want to see something? Here's something funny. Maxx Kominowski. So these players both had a bye in round 1 because they were playing the finals from the team event.
Mm-hmm.
Max won. So his first round of the Modern 5K was round 2, and he played his teammate Theodore Jung in the first round of the event.
That's funny.
In his first round of the event. And did prove victorious. And both players here are 5-1. And they have the posture of players. No, I was going to say it looks like they're waiting for us, but actually Jesse's working on the mulligan here.
Mm-hmm.
So question in the chat, isn't this a team finals rematch? Yes, it is. Maxx Kominowski and Jesse Robkin both played this morning. Jesse was playing Pioneer. Playing Green Devotion, switching over to the Izzet Breach deck. As Mono Green Devotion, I'm not sure it's a powerhouse in Modern necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, there's some amount of people who play it, but I think they're the type of people that you see that get played and you're like, what are you doing? But, I don't know, maybe I feel like the Mono Green Devotion decks that I was used to seeing in Modern are quite different from the Pioneer version, and the Pioneer version could potentially be a hint at some upgrades or some different directions that the Modern version could go in.
All right. So let's see how this develop. We almost saw a Pioneer deck last round. I mean, it was the Hushburner deck was like 2/3
I watched
of the Pioneer
it.
deck.
Yeah, it
Not
was
quite.
an interesting thing to see. Certainly very different innovation as far as creatures are concerned, and was very cool to see the kind of difference in how you can navigate certain decks from different formats, which kind of has me thinking about, once again, the difference in how Devotion could potentially work in Modern now.
Okay, so there's a Ledger Shredder, and he gets Spell Snared.
Okay.
I don't know if that was necessarily something that Jesse was expecting.
I wouldn't have, but also if Ledger Shredder is going to be as big of a card right now, I definitely understand why you would be putting in something like Spell Snare.
How good was this turn for Jesse Robkin? This was turn 2, Ledger Shredder and Emery.
Yeah. Definitely a crazy turn, but gotta be a little bit intimidating for Max, and at least Max was able to go for that Spell Snare and take care of how even more potent this turn could have been for Jesse.
Yeah, Grinding Station did mill over there, as well as a Mishra's Bauble. So Max certainly incentivized to take down the Emery and does so, which probably means Ragavan. That's a tough choice to have to make to allow Ragavan to hit you again, but allowing Emery to survive isn't any good either.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty close to just like the combo pieces that you need for Jesse's side of the board. So
that's sturdy.
Don't mind if I do.
Revealed. Mox Amber and Steam Vents, can you cast it? Interesting that it was not Mox Amber and Mountain to cast it. I'm not sure the reasoning there. Maybe that's just an oversight, or maybe something I'm missing. There we go. Mox Amber doesn't only taps for red with the regular play. Okay, that does square then. And Max needs to get some board presence here. I was actually thinking, this Ragavan hit and revealed Unholy Heat. It's unlucky for Jesse. There's nothing to kill, but I suppose if there's anything to kill, it's going to have blocked the Ragavan in the first place.
Yeah. Inclined to agree, and Murktide Regent going to be a good thing to come down here. A big potent blocker, and certainly something that, if large enough, is kind of difficult for any other Izzet deck to go ahead and kill. Confirming that we do not need to tap that extra Steam Vents for this Murktide Regent.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse, you may as well make sure of it. I mean, you don't want to run into any more Spell Snares or whatever else Max might have in there.
Honestly, that's fair.
All right, so there's the die. It's a 6/6 Murktide, which is not good enough to get through Unholy Heat. Treasure does allow a construct to come into play there. And
looks
here we
like
have
we're making another one. Yep.
All right, Saga goes down. This would be a nice time to have an Ether Spell Bomb, which I seriously doubt is being played in this deck. Boom! Wow.
Yeah, I was about to say, I actually can confirm that there is one copy of Ether Spell Bomb as I have Jesse's deck open on my other monitor.
Well, that is brilliant for Jesse Robkin then. Ether Spell Bomb to clear that Murktide out of the way, and of course it just goes back to hand, but as you can see by the current size of Max's graveyard, it is not going to very easily be redeployed.
Yeah, the size of Max's graveyard as well as the amount of lands in play for Max. Certainly is not coming back nearly as potent, and I imagine that with the current size of the board, Jesse would like to just go ahead and clear that up, get attacking.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good to me. As we finish up shuffling here. And open the door for an attack for, it looks like 4 or 5 damage here. Comes across another Ragavan hit. This is the most times I've seen Ragavan hit in quite a while. And Bolt, Lightning Bolt's a much better flip than Unholy Heat. And Max,
go upstairs.
I mean, Max does have a great card in the graveyard now. So Jesse was just trying to help him out.
Yeah, that's how we'll look at this. I mean, with a treasure and play. Okay, never mind. We're not even going to worry about some things that are going to be concerns, as Max says, it's not going to be enough regardless of how this ends up going.
Yeah, I mean, Ragavan hits. I mean, you're bolting yourself basically. That's just a bad way to run. Anyway, let's go and take a look. Take a look at the deck list here. We see Maxx Kominowski's Izzet Murktide here. 1 Brazen Borrower, couple Ledger Shredders.
Most notable interests to me are the 2 Spell Pierce main along with that 1 Spell Snare. I mean, that Spell Snare was good. It just seems like Jesse's initial hand was exactly what you would want to see in a matchup like this, and doesn't even need to worry about the breach combo pieces. Just got to play all of the creatures that were important, namely 1 copy of each Ragavan and Emery, and keeping those legends on the field long enough for that Mox Opal to matter, or Mox Amber to matter as well. So just nicely working out for Jesse's side of the board, more so than Max's.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at... Oh, here's the sideboard. I guess that's relevant too.
I guess.
All right, so we do have some graveyard hate options, and then Max is faced with the choice. Do you bring in your graveyard hate? Do you worry enough about the combo, or do you ignore it? I mean, in game 1...
It didn't even matter. I think to care about it a little bit. And considering that you don't have that many pieces, you have the Tormod Crypt and the Unlicensed Hearse, and those are like your only options. Like you could spare 2 cards on the off chance that Jesse even thinks about going for an Underworld Breach combo. And then I think the Engineered Explosives potentially could just be a nice way to clear up some of these cheap creatures that end up mattering a lot for Jesse as well.
Maybe so. Mystical Dispute also hits a fair number of things in the deck, so we'll see. There's definitely some options here. All right, let's look at Jesse Robkin's Izzet Breach deck that she has put work into for quite some time over the span of this year. We do see the one Thassa's Oracle, which is the combo kill if it comes up.
As well as that one copy of Aether Spellbomb that ended up mattering quite a bit. That's made a little bit easier to find based off of that Urza saga. So nice package of Izzet creatures that were very popular or are very popular right now, and just a little bit of extra oomph in some of these combo pieces from that Grinding Station, Underworld Breach, and that, as you mentioned, the Thassa's Oracle to kill.
Yeah, not quite a substantial Urza Saga package as a lot of decks would have, but there is the one Spellbomb, the one Shadow Spear, and the Springleaf Drum in case mana is what is required. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to the table, see if these players... Oh, I don't know what's the matter with me. Round 7 here. I forgot about sideboarding entirely. So the sideboard, Jesse does have Fairy Time Raveler to protect potentially the combo against more controller decks, perhaps, as well as a suite of counterspells. So certainly prepared for that that avenue. Here, what do you think?
I would imagine that we end up caring about, again, same kind of wavelength of caring about those mystical disputes and some of those spell pierces, potentially caring about the Tormod's Crypt, but I feel like it's less necessary for Jesse to bring in compared to Max here. And I think I would actually almost rather have some Teferis just to not have to worry about instant speed interaction to come out of your opponent while you're trying to kind of just put your head down and do your own game plan.
And it is similar to the Easter Spellbomb, just more ways to bounce difficult to kill Murktide Regents off the board. And that is an interesting aspect of these Murktide matchups, both in multiple formats, where you don't have to kill it. Bouncing it is sometimes similarly effective, at least for a while. All right, Bauble for Max, but no early play. Jesse's like, well, I was going to play my 2-drop auto win card, but I don't want to get spell snared, so I'll just pass.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I feel like if you don't have interaction coming down from something like this as a Murktide deck, I feel like that's pretty telling. I feel like also this Steam Vents kind of getting tapped would potentially tapped to enter the battlefield speaks heavily to what is potentially in Max's hand, as it is likely a lot of cheap interaction.
Yeah, definitely screams that he does not have Archmage Charm in hand. And Jesse brings out Sacred Foundry, suggesting, oh, well, there may be Teferi looming somewhere. Here's a Shredder. All right, Max, do you have this Spell Snare? You had it last game.
I think I do see it in hand.
Really?
But I do respect the decision to wait. And yep, there it is. And will we have something like a Mystical Dispute? Yep, that is going to be the case. Do we fight for it? Nope, that Shredder can stay on the field.
The opportunity for conniving is gone for the turn, and there Shredder goes. So didn't amount to too much, but the players did exchange cards a little bit, build up their graveyards, which is actually beneficial for both sides. And here's a Ragavan.
Now we're going to have to worry about if Max has a counterspell for the Teferi that is, in fact, as you mentioned, based on the kind of telegraphing of that Sacred Foundry in hand, if that decides to be the case here. But going to start off with taking down that Ragavan and going from there. Shadow Spear as well, but no creatures to put it on.
Yeah, that cannot be a card that Jesse's happy about drawing.
Yeah, but might as well have it in play anyway.
Yes.
We're going to see this Expressive Iteration allow for Max to do a little bit of extra filtering and get a land for the turn as well. Joe Lisette, a big fan of this land choice, I'll tell you right now.
Oh, Becky Bell loses points.
Oh, because this isn't the exact one?
That's not even the right artwork. You're the one that knows art.
Okay, to be fair, literally both of the land artworks from this set are pretty much identical.
Okay, for one thing, there's 3.
Yeah, they're both cool. They're almost identical, and these are signed like you like.
I'm just... It's a good thing for you that we don't have another alternate caster ready to go this afternoon. You might be out of here.
For getting your favorite basic land wrong, I'm sorry. My apologies.
I mean, you could be... I would allow you to be wrong, to not know, but instead you claimed to know and were wrong.
Okay,
I
I
mean,
understand.
what if I said that your favorite Pokemon was like, I don't know, Grouchosaur or whatever? I mean,
Well, at least I named something that actually exists in the world. Grouchosaur is not a Pokemon.
how is that possible? Aren't there like 10,000 Pokemon at this point? How is Grouch?
There are 1,000 Pokemon now, yeah.
All right.
That's
Anyway,
true.
we see
Garbodor would have been a correct answer.
Emery gets knocked out of here. So Ragavan once again gets to survive. Well, never mind. I'll take that back. I was going to say Emery got prioritized, which makes sense, but Ragavan went down as well.
Just so much reaction for Max.
Okay, well, Jesse's going to need something to rebuild here. Underworld Breach is potential always looming when she has a large graveyard, which she does now. Okay, there's Unlicensed Hearse.
Okay. I mean, we kind of talked about it. We were like, you might as well, if there's only 2 pieces, and finding one of them, especially at this point, I think is a welcome thing to see for Max.
Yeah, and between the option of Tormod, Crypt, and Unlicensed Hearse, Hearse is more functional as a game piece, not just as the graveyard removal, because it's actually a threat as well. Emery comes in and flips over 4 more cards, and yeah, this Unlicensed Hearse is going to be problematic. And if it's not animated, I don't know that Jesse can get rid of it.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that because we didn't see like any artifact removal aside from things like just the explosives in the sideboard. So yeah, if there's no like targeted removal, that could potentially end up being a really annoying thing for Jesse to have to deal with here.
All right, so Jesse's spreading out the graveyard so it's easier to see what all's in there. I'm sure Max appreciates that, as do we. Now, check me on this. Emery is going to tap to make a spell castable from make an artifact castable from the graveyard. Unlicensed Hearse, I would think, can probably respond to that targeting. So this this definitely shuts it down. There's a counterspell on Teferi, which is one way to get Hearse off the board. I guess there were 2 prismatic endings in Jesse's sideboard. If those came in, that's another way to do it. And
just kidding. We weren't sad to see the Shadow Spear. Any creature with Shadow Spear is a little bit more potent, and now we get to attack for more.
Sure, why not? Yeah, Max, eat a couple damage there. Jesse will pad the life total a little bit. This is exactly the way Jesse drew up her sideboard game play, I'm sure. Emery shut down by Hearse with Shadow Spear, but you take what you get. Good players make what they can out of what's presented to them, and that currently is a 2-power lifelink creature. Max, nothing going on.
But I mean, I would say arguably maybe doesn't need anything to be going on, at least for a little while longer. And as long as you drew every Unholy Heat and every Lightning Bolt in your deck to take care of every creature that Jesse's been able to play, maybe you're not too upset about it.
Yeah, well, Max has a Spell Pierce in hand right now, and that's not going to do anything. And these Urza Saga tokens are going to start coming. And 14 is a solid life total, but he's going to need something here.
Some action, yeah.
Any legitimate creature can crew that Unlicensed Hearse. Ragavan, that'll work.
It's
actually going to dash in. Well,
maybe
dashing is going to potentially trade with a Saga token. Ooh, so Max rushed this one. I think didn't think it through, and now is faced with, do I want to trade this or not? And decides he does.
Well, I mean, if you've already gone ahead for the dash, it does feel like you've kind of priced yourself into it. So,
right. And I mean, trading off that token does significantly slow down Jesse's assault on the way back, because instead of attacking for 3 this turn, attacking for none, and this construct is capped at a 2/2, at least for the moment.
Looks like we're activating in response to the 3rd chapter of Urza's Saga.
Okay. in case Python comes down. Okay, that makes good sense. From Max, we'd be aware of potential of what could happen. And here's that spell bomb again. Nice way to deal with the unlicensed source if it ever actually decides to attack or block. Can reset it and get all those counters off.
Yeah, unfortunately, those counters are just kind of sitting there. We don't have a ton, but
yeah, so they're definitely Max. If he just cast the Ragavan, then the hearse would have been able to block, but this Ether Spellbomb that came in would have undone that anyway.
Yeah. Let's see if any action has been found for Max now, as this construct that is on the board for Jesse has a Shadow Spear in hand. This time, not a Dash Ragavan, so we won't be running into any constructs today.
All right.
Fairy number 2.
Possibly. There is Teferi Time Reveler that is going to resolve whether Max wants to play a Spell Pierce or not.
Yeah, that's kind of a rough decision, because then either way, your unlicensed hearse is getting bounced by either the Teferi or the Spell Bomb.
All right, so there it is. It's going to be reset in size. I don't know that Jesse's going to want to attack here anyway. If she did, she'd have to Spellbomb the Ragavan, which could be done, I suppose. All right, she is going to attack, so I'm going to suspect she did draw something desirable off the Teferi or has something else to play this turn. That's an attack for 4.
Nice little graveyard fan from Max here as well. Thank you, players. And in fact, you are correct. Ledger Shredder was a draw and is going to be a great blocker against the Ragavan.
Ooh, Max draws a Polluted Delta. This is just
falling apart.
Yeah. Okay, Jesse indicating, you know what? I think we had you take the wrong amount of damage there. Max probably agrees. So they adjust that. So Max at 10 here. Jesse a little ways away from it. Looks like a 2-turn clock if she sends into everything, but she is strongly incentivized to not do that.
Yeah. And I think that Jesse is in a fine place to just continue to play safe anyway.
There's Thassa's Oracle, which pretty cute using this. This is Devotion of 4, I think.
4 or 5? 4, yes.
So getting a little bit of turbocharged scrying there.
Normally intended to win the game with, but it's okay to do some scrying too.
Also capable of blocking Ragavan just fine. And I'm not sure about this, but I feel like it might have been a lightning bolt that stayed on top there for Jesse. If that was the case, then this
game
to
just close out the game,
Yeah. We all in here? Could be even more all in by bouncing the Ragavan. Well, it does shrink the construct by 1.
Jesse has gone ahead and said, all right, well, we're coming in with everything. If you're at 6, we're just trying to get this done this turn. And starting with crew, 2 unlicensed hearse, but we have this Ether Spell Bomb.
Yeah, losing the Spell Bomb would make this no longer a lethal attack.
But if you're correct in assuming that
if it's
the lightning bolt,
then it doesn't matter. So that's 5. Max drops to 1. Bang. All right. Jesse Robkin advances to 6-1, looking good to potentially play in the elimination rounds again for the second time this weekend. Maxx Kominowski, 5-2. So he has some work to do in order to be seen for the second time today with the trophy, but it's still possible. All right. So I believe we have a backup match.
Let's go.
Yes, indeed. That was a cleanly played game. Pretty entertaining stuff as well.
A little sad that we didn't get to see the breach go off, but it's fine. Again, plan Bs are something that are entertaining, but every once in a while I'm also very interested in seeing those kind of flashy combos.
You
I
weren't
want
satisfied.
a little bit of both.
You weren't satisfied with we had Emery equipped with Shadow Spear.
It only attacked once.
What plan do you think that was? Is that lower than B? Is that why?
Oh, it's probably way lower than B. Well,
okay.
I would not put it further than D though.
Sure, but certainly not plan numero uno.
There was earlier Devin said something. Devin was like, this has got to be plan Q. And I was like, actually, it seems like a huge upside if your deck has enough game plans that you can go all the way down to Q. Most of my decks barely even have a D. So
all right. So we're moving in here. This is game 1, not game 2, despite what it says on the screen right there.
Oh, time shifted. Okay. I was like, we just shuffled for forever? Okay.
So if you have any complaints about the overlay, we'll get Director Dave to answer to your answer for his crime. So obviously this pip on the screen is his fault.
But yeah, the deck lists are also backwards. Skyler is actually playing Boros Burn and Dylan is playing Izzet Murktide.
All right, blame being passed around left and right in Nerd Rage behind the scenes, but that's okay. It takes a lot of work to put on these shows. Mostly viewers just see, my mistakes or our mistakes, but there are plenty going on behind the scenes. It is all over the place, but we're happy to bring you Magic Gaming as best as we can manage it, and we hope you're enjoying the show. So opening up Skyler Warfield with a Monster Swift Spirit across for 1.
Good start, and good basic land choice. I'm a big fan of the Kamigawa full art basics.
It does take a lot of work to put on these broadcasts. Something Anurag Das was talking about this morning between rounds, as he is now learning about the
intricacies.
Yes, of doing coverages. He does his work at the SCG cons. All right, so here we go. 2 lava spikes. This Swift Spear is getting in pretty big. Is there a removal spell? There is not.
Damage.
If this connects, that is a great start for Skyler.
Yeah, that's 9 damage in 1 turn. So yep, Dylan sitting at 10, going to be going to 9 off of that fetch, and things are already getting a little bit not exactly where you'd want them to be, and your silver lining on the horizon has to just be, well, Skyler only has 2 cards left in hand. It's going to draw 1, but you just got to hope that it's not bolt.
Right, and this is the kind of start we need to see from Burn more often. I feel like lately we've had a lot of anemic Burn games. They just the one a couple rounds ago was extreme, where Amulet Titan just absolutely demolished it. But
yeah,
but even so, Burn needs to put up a better show. All right, Ledger Shredder pitches Ledger Shredder on Connive, advances to 2/4, making it rather more difficult for the Burn deck to deal with. Although Skyler can just attack into the Ledger Shredder, and any spell will at least allow Swift Spear to survive combat.
Oh, I was trying to figure out what the Mystical Archive card was in hand, but it has to be a Lightning Helix. So 1 card in hand is Helix. Unsure about the other one. Skullcrack. There we answered.
Skullcrack. So Dylan drops to 6.
I feel like this is sending us to just not attacking at all, because we could have potentially gone for the attack and then with the Ledger Shredder block use the Helix to finish it off.
Well, that would have been threatened. Also, I feel like the attack there from Skyler is basically free, as Dylan may block or may not. But from Skyler's perspective, I'm not sure it matters unless there's Dash Ragavan and Skyler wants to be able to potentially block in that scenario. That would be a reason to hold back. Okay. Unholy Heat without Delirium. Ooh.
Oh, it is a lightning bolt.
The
Okay.
lightning bolt,
Not
and
a helix.
right.
I for some reason keep thinking that was lightning strike instead of bolt because of trying to keep a lot of standard legal cards that were kind of mopey.
Mhm. Okay, so Counterspell does take down the lightning bolt. Swiftspear will die to the what?
It has to still
Oh,
be
does Dylan
Unholy
have
Heat, just has
does
delirium.
yeah, it has delirium now. Okay. Ooh,
Sunbaked.
Eidolon. That's
Oh,
a solid one.
okay.
It's probably going to stop every card in Dylan's deck aside from Murktide from doing damage. And he's at 6, so that Mishra's Bauble in hand is kind of stranded now.
Yeah, do you want to take 2 damage for that bubble? How you feeling about it?
Wow. This Eidolon's going to have a outsized impact on the game. Dylan's going to need to find a removal spell for it, and even then it's going to drop to 4. There's a Lightning Bolt and a counter spell.
Bolt Eidolon, take 2. So do we have a response that we want to do? Ooh, bolt right back. So Dylan's going to be at 1. No fetching for you, but we'll accept.
Yeah, this still might be just fine with 2 counter spells in hand. What would be a good draw here? Soakinzon would be great for Skyler.
Isn't anything a good draw? Oh, I
Well,
guess because
most
we have a
things would get
counterspell.
counterspelled. Yeah.
Fair. Okay.
Soakinzon does take 4
Bauble?
mana and also is unlikely to be in the deck in the first place.
You think so? Let's look. There's no Soakinzon, you're correct. I got a little excited though. I was like, but maybe.
Dylan draws a Spell Pierce, all counters all the time, and only 2 damage a turn here, but yeah, I don't know how easily it's going to be for Skyler to get through this.
Yeah, and the one card that is in hand, Dylan knows based on the Mishra's Bauble that was used last turn. So, and with enough mana to just kind of like sit back, probably attack with the Shredder and have both Spell Pierce and Counterspell to handle whatever, like Skylar just like waits to have 2 spells to go for the kill and then is not really going to be able to do it. And these Mishra's Baubles are going to keep Dylan pretty well informed about what exactly is in Skylar's hand and know whether this little bird can actually go attacking or not is kind of a nice situation to be in, considering that you're at 1. Like, it could be worse.
Well, there's 1 burn spell drawn.
This
but
is the Lightning Helix.
Spell Pierce hurts on this.
Yeah, Connive going off as well.
Okay. Ooh, is that another Eidolon? 2 threats in 1 turn. It's a Rift Bolt. Okay.
Oh, I was going to say a Lava Spike, so we were all wrong. Those aren't even the weird arts for them.
Yeah, we can't misidentify the original versions of cards. Then where are we going to be? That's just all downhill from there. Okay, Dylan has Ragavan. Thinking about dashing it in here.
Are we able to?
Well, the treasure would provide some backup. He would be vulnerable momentarily, though.
I guess we still technically know the card in Warfield's hand. Yeah.
And there it is. And Skyler Warfield does manage to work their way around Dylan's counterspells and take down game 1.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so we are going to start. Okay, so players. Okay, so I think what I was just told was that the players are about to start game 3.
Yes.
Which would imply that Dylan won game 2, and we're just going to move in and pick it up live once the players are ready, but they're still shuffling up for game 3. So I think that's what I understood there. So, okay, we'll take a minute.